can see color if there's good contrast. So like, I can see that that's like a light because the ceiling's darker than that. But it's not where I can recognize anything or anyone. Preston Radke, PRESTONRADTKE.
Alright, what is your major?
Major in public relations, minor in creative writing.
My name's Tara Bella.
And what is your major?
Elementary education and special education. Swimming and I like reading and writing.
Hobbies, or what do you do for fun?
Like music, big sports fan, like movies. I don't know, pretty much just the norm, you know.
Yeah.
Are you involved in any clubs or organizations on campus?
Student Education Association and Lutheran Student Fellowship.
Are you involved in any on-campus clubs or organizations?
I'm a member of PRSSA, which is the Public Relations Student Society of America. I'm like a backup writer for the Daily News. Then I'm the Issues and Facilities Director for the Residence Hall Association.
How many visually impaired people do you think are on campus?
15.
So why did you choose to come to Ball State?
Because I was originally a journalism major, and actually Ball State was my second choice. Michigan State University was my first choice, and financially that didn't work out. And then Ball State actually had a great journalism program because I was originally a journalism major. And I changed majors last year in my freshman year, mid-year, and they still have a really good PR program, so I like.
Why did you choose to come to Ball State?
Because they have a very good disability office and a good teaching college.
No, I don't think visually impaired people enjoy watching movies because they don't get to actually see the film, they just hear what's going on.
Blind people can do pretty much anything that sighted people can do, and they enjoy a lot of the same activities that sighted people enjoy. Like, I love movies, and a lot of people wouldn't think that I like movies because I can't see what's on the screen, but I do.
So how does movies work for you?
I either have a friend describe them to me, or they actually have movies that have audio descriptions, so they kind of tell you what's going on as it's happening.
Does Aladdin go off duty in your room where he's just a regular dog?
Yep.
Why did you choose a dog instead of a cane?
I wanted the companionship of having a dog, and also dogs, you can train them to find specific things. So I have them trained to find the card swipe to go into the dorms, and I have them trained to find certain classrooms and stuff.
Why did you choose a cane and not a dog?
When you get a dog, it's not you just purchase a guide dog. It's actually a big process. You have to apply to a guide dog school. They have to observe you, make sure that you'd be right for a guide dog, and then they fly you out to their school. There's 5 or 6 there's a lot of schools, and they fly you out to their school, and you basically have to be trained how to use a guide dog and how to take care of the dog for 10 to 12 weeks.
Were you born blind?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Were you born blind?
Yes.
Do you know Braille?
Yes.
Do you know Braille?
Huh?
When did you learn?
Probably age 3 through age 5.
Okay. How long did it take you to learn? So 2 years maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years to read, and then it just it took me just a few more years after that to learn more advanced Braille. So it probably took you guys a while to learn how to read cursive, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so think of it that way.
Yeah. Take tests, take notes.
I have a note taker. I didn't bring it with me, but it's a little computer sort of. That's actually the thing I probably use Braille the most for because the screen is actually Braille.
Oh, okay.
And then for tests, I would either. It kind of depends on the class because last year when I took Math 125, I just had the professor read me the exam one-on-one. However, for most classes, what they do is the teacher would just email me the exam right before the class period, and then I would convert it onto that little note taker I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And I would take it that way, then convert it back to a Word document or PDF format, and then send it right back.
How do you take tests or participate in classes?
For tests, I go to the Learning Center and somebody reads me my tests and I tell them my answers and they write them down for me. And then for class, I do a lot of my schoolwork on the computer, and I have a software that reads to me like what's on the screen.
How do you think visually impaired people match their clothing?
I think, well, I always just think they just like wing it and just pick stuff out.
How do you get ready in the morning? Like, how do you pick out your outfit and all?
When I like buy clothes or whenever I get clothes, I'll make sure to ask someone what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll like remember what it feels like, and then I'll remember what someone told me it looked like.
Okay.
Do you think that visually impaired people's senses are enhanced?
I always heard that they had a better sense of hearing and they relied on their hearing more, so I think their senses are enhanced.
You say your other senses are heightened?
They are, but it's not because of like I was born with visual impairment. That means that I had an extra better hearing. It just means I rely on them more.
Okay.
So like if you used your hearing a lot more than you do now, then I guess you could say that's your best sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only because you would use it more. It's not because I was born with like a superpower or anything.
How has being blind affected making friendships? Probably not at all.
Not really.
Yeah.
Especially with Aladdin and everything.
How has being visually impaired affected making friends or relationships, or has it even affected it?
It's affected it a little bit. Only because sometimes I can be a shy person. So, and then the other thing is sometimes if you're like visually impaired, whatever, there are lowered expectations, which, I mean, that shouldn't be, but I mean, I can't tell people how to think or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it also depends on the people you're dealing with. Like, I have some friends now who it doesn't really matter to them. So, and then, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. This girl I'm dating now, she's very much like that. Like, it really doesn't matter. It's like all personality or whatever. But then, her roommate, one day, she goes, "Oh, so you guys are like going out now?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." And then her roommate said, "Well, I'm really proud of you for like dealing with the circumstances." So, I mean, you encounter that sometimes.
Have you ever thought about getting like any sort of surgery to give you vision?
I mean, I've thought about it, but it's not legal right now.
If you had a choice, would you rather be visually impaired or would you rather be able to see?
I'm thinking out loud, so I don't care if you record this or not. Because on the one hand, if you get your vision back, you'd obviously be able to do, like, basically live a normal life. But the other thing is, if you get, this is more prevalent for me because I haven't had like perfect vision for my whole life. So if I somehow acquire perfect vision, like the brain has never learned how to like process that, so that could take a really, really, really long time to adjust. So maybe I would only if I knew that I would be given that time without like having to work or without having to go to school, where I could just learn how to use or learn how to adapt or adjust to having perfect vision. Mm-hmm. Because I admit things would be better if I had full sight, but the learning how to live with full sight could take a really, really long time, and sometimes you may not have that time. Like sometimes we have to work, maybe in school, So I guess with a condition, like yes, but only if I'd be guaranteed to be able to kind of learn how to live with it without having to do other things.
If you had a choice, would you rather be blind or would you be able to see?
That's a really hard question because there are days where I'm like, it would be really nice to be able to see. It would make my life so much easier. But then there are days where I'm like, being blind is really awesome. So
right.
I really don't know.